There are wounds that never show on the skin, wounds carried quietly in the heart, shaped by the people who were supposed to love you the most. Maybe you felt it too, the cold distance, the silent rejection, the conversations that turned into weapons, the feeling of being the outsider in your own home. And somewhere deep inside, you've asked the question, why did my family pull away? Why was I the one left behind? But today, I want to speak a truth heaven has been trying to whisper to your spirit. You were not abandoned by your family. You were rescued by God. The separation you thought was punishment may actually be protection. The silence you thought was rejection may actually be God pulling you out of a place that could have crushed your calling. You think they walked away, but what if God was the one who closed the door? What if their departure was heaven's way of saving your future? Because long before you saw the pain, God saw the danger. Long before you felt the distance, God knew the intentions. And long before you cried over who left, God had already prepared who would come into your life next. So stay with this message, because what you're about to hear may be the key that frees you from the guilt, the loneliness, and the confusion you've been carrying for years.
You have cried over people who walked away. You have questioned your worth because someone you loved chose distance instead of closeness. You have replayed conversations in your mind, trying to understand where everything went wrong. But heaven sees it differently. What you call abandonment, God calls intervention. What you call rejection, God calls protection. What you call loss, God calls rescue. Because God never allows a door to close unless what is behind it can no longer carry you into the future He designed. You think they let go of you, but what if God was the one who loosened their grip? You think they chose to step away, but what if heaven said, "This connection can't go with you any further"? God will not let you stay in a place where your soul keeps shrinking, where your identity keeps bleeding, where your calling keeps suffocating. So when He sees danger you cannot see, He removes people you would have kept. He ends conversations you would have continued. He closes chapters you were still trying to fix. Not because He is cruel, but because He is a Father. He is not abandoning you. He is rescuing you. And the moment you see your pain from heaven's perspective, everything shifts. The wound becomes clarity. The separation becomes salvation. The loss becomes a lifting. Because God never removes without reason. He rescues with purpose. There are battles you never saw. Words behind you that you never heard. Plans formed against you that you were never aware of. And you wonder why God allowed certain people to drift away, to grow cold, to disconnect. But what if God separated you because staying connected would have destroyed something sacred inside you? God doesn't always protect you with angels you can see. Sometimes His protection looks like distance. Sometimes His shield looks like silence. Sometimes His mercy looks like someone leaving. When God sees manipulation rising, He creates separation. When He sees jealousy sharpening, He creates distance. When He sees hidden motives forming, He interrupts the connection. When He sees a spirit that can harm your calling, He pulls you away before the damage begins. It may feel painful, but in the spirit, it is a rescue mission.
God is not just protecting your present, He is protecting your future, your peace, your identity, your destiny, your next season. You think you are losing people, but heaven says you are losing danger. And the moment you stop calling it abandonment and start calling it protection, your heart will finally rest.
If you think your separation is strange, look at the ones God chose before you. Every person God lifted, God first separated. Joseph was not pushed away by accident. His brother's jealousy was not random. Their hatred was not coincidence. It was the tool God used to remove him from a house where his destiny could not breathe. Had Joseph stayed, he would have lived small, died small, and never touched the throne God prepared. The pit didn't destroy him, it delivered him. Moses tried to help his own people, but they rejected him, mocked him, and exposed his past. It felt like failure, but it was God's redirection. Because if Moses had stayed trying to win their approval, he would have missed the burning bush, the voice of God, the calling to become a deliverer. Rejection led him to revelation. David walked into the battlefield with bread and obedience, not ambition. And the first attack he faced was not from Goliath, but from Eliab, his own brother. Eliab questioned his motives, insulted his character, and belittled his calling. Why? Because David's anointing exposed what Eliab refused to become. If David had stayed to argue, he would have missed the giant that would write his name into history. And now, your story. Joseph teaches, God removes you to protect the dream. Moses teaches, God removes you to reveal your true identity. David teaches, God removes you from voices that cannot see who you are becoming. Your separation has a pattern. Your story is not random. Your distance is not accidental. Heaven has done this before, and heaven is doing it again, in you. There comes a moment in life when the love you expected doesn't show up. Not from friends, not from relationships, but from the people whose love you thought was guaranteed. You tried to be the peacemaker. You tried to explain yourself. You tried to hold the family together even when it was tearing you apart. And still, you were misunderstood, mislabeled, mistreated, misused. But hear this. When human love fails, divine love takes over. God does not wait for everyone to treat you right before He calls you His own. He does not need your family's approval to place His hand on your life. He does not require their acceptance to affirm your identity. When the people who should have loved you couldn't love you well, God Himself stepped in and said, I will be the one who receives you. I will be the one who covers you. I will be the one who calls you mine. Song 27:10 comes alive in moments like these. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will take me in. God knows the fragile places of your heart, the parts you tried to hide, the parts you tried to heal alone, the parts you hoped someone would understand. But when others turned their backs, God turned His face toward you. When others made you feel small,
God whispered your true worth. When others withheld affection, God wrapped you in a love that human hearts are too limited to offer. He is not replacing your family. He is restoring your soul. Because what you lost in human love, you are gaining in divine love. A love deeper, purer, unshakable, unconditional, ever present. You are not unloved. You are reloved by God.
There are moments in your life that felt like rejection, but were actually rescue signals from heaven. And if you look closely, you will see the fingerprints of God all over the separation you once feared. Here are the signs. 1. The relationship suddenly grew cold without explanation. You didn't fight, you didn't change, you didn't fail, but their heart shut down. That wasn't coincidence. That was God removing access from someone who was wounding your spirit. 2. You began to feel drained every time you were around them. Your peace left. Your joy shrank. Your spirit felt small. That heaviness wasn't just stress. It was God revealing what your heart could no longer carry. 3. They misunderstood you no matter how clearly you spoke. Your intentions were pure, but they twisted your motives. Your love was sincere, but they questioned your heart. That wasn't communication failure, it was spiritual misalignment. 4. Your growth made them uncomfortable. When God elevates you, those who refuse to grow will often pull away. Not because you did something wrong, but because your transformation exposed their stagnation. 5. Their absence brought more peace than their presence ever did. This is the clearest sign. When someone's leaving brings relief to your spirit, that is not abandonment. That is deliverance. 6. God began to surround you with new people who spoke life, not fear. Heaven never subtracts without adding. And the moment God pulls you out, He places the right voices around you. These signs are not random. They are the gentle, decisive fingerprints of God pulling you out of environments that could not hold your future. You were not pushed away. You were carried out.
There comes a moment in every believer's journey where you must decide how you will interpret your pain. You can see yourself as the one left behind, or you can rise as the one God lifted out. You can keep repeating the wounds of the past, or you can declare the truth of heaven over your life. Today, you shift from victimhood into chosenness. Say this with your spirit. I was not abandoned, I was rescued. I was not rejected, I was protected. I did not lose people, God removed what could not stay. I am not alone, God Himself is with me. I am not unwanted, I am chosen, seen, and guarded by heaven. The enemy wants your identity to be shaped by who left. God wants your identity to be shaped by who stayed. And He stayed. He stayed when others walked away. He stayed when the room grew silent. He stayed when your heart broke. He stayed when your world shifted. And because He stayed, you rise. This is not denial. This is clarity. This is not false hope. This is divine truth. You are shifting from the one who was wounded to the one who carries purpose. From the one who suffered to the one who will overcome. From the one who was hurt to the one heaven calls chosen. Your story did not end with who left. It begins with who lifted you.
You have walked through pain you never asked for. You have carried wounds you never deserved. You have survived chapters you never wanted to live. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing, still seeking God. That alone is the evidence that heaven's hand has never left you. You were not rejected. You were redirected. You were not abandoned. You were repositioned. You were not pushed away. You were pulled forward. God is leading you into a place where your heart can finally rest, where your soul can finally heal, where your calling can finally breathe. A place where love is not a weapon, but a covering, where peace is not a visitor, but a resident, where you are not tolerated, but treasured. Everything you lost is making room for what heaven is sending. Everything that broke you is becoming the soil where God will rebuild you. Everything that left is clearing space for everything meant to arrive. This is not the end of your story. This is the turning page, the moment God lifts you out of the place that hurt you and leads you into a place that will hold you. Walk forward. Lift your head. Let heaven lead you. You are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. You are loved. And your next chapter will not look like your last.
If you made it to this moment, it means something powerful about you. Your heart is ready. Ready for healing. Ready for clarity. Ready for God to rewrite the story that pain once controlled. So let these last words settle gently into your spirit. You were never forgotten. You were never forsaken. You were never unloved. Every tear you cried, heaven recorded. Every silent night you endured, God saw. Every moment you felt weak, He held you closer than you knew. And now, as this message comes to its close, I want you to whisper this in your heart. God, thank you for rescuing me from what I couldn't walk away from. Thank you for protecting me from what I thought I needed. Thank you for loving me when others did not. Let that gratitude rise inside you like holy incense. Let it soften the wounds you kept hidden for so long. Let it be your offering before the presence of God. And as you breathe in this quiet moment, remember, you are not rejected. You are protected. You are not abandoned. You are chosen. You are not alone. You are surrounded by heaven. Stay close. Stay faithful. And let God lead you into the chapter He has already prepared.